This century's threats are at least as dangerous as, and in some ways more complex than those we have confronted in the past. They come from sophisticated weapons that can kill on a mass scale, and from global terrorists who respond to annihilation and perceived injustice with murderous nihilism. They come from state sponsors of terror, allied to terrorists, and from rising powers that could challenge the foundation of international peace and security. They come from powerful nations who have the capability to invade and annex other countries without recourse to international law and principles. But of all the threats to global security and peace, the most dangerous is the proliferation and potential use of nuclear weapons. So whatever your calling is, whether you are in business, academic, religious, whether you are in the civil society or you are a government, none of us can achieve our endeavors in a hostile global environment. That's not possible. If a nuclear weapon explodes in one city, be it New York or Moscow, Islamabad or Mumbai, Tokyo or Tel Aviv, Paris or Lagos, Toronto or Abu Dhabi, thousands and millions of lives will die. And no matter where it happens, there is no end to what the consequences might be for our global safety, our humanity, our economy, to our ultimate survival as a people. Just think about the different nationalities who work at many financial hubs around the world, at the United Nations, and in other regional and multilateral institutions. A nuclear attack or breakout of global conflict will disrupt global trade and businesses. The economy will not only crash, but we may as well watch our world go away. So now more than ever, this is not the time to be quiet about these imminent threats that matter, because it will indirectly come back to us. It is time to call on member nations and the international community to stand united in strengthening the global regime, including the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty that prevents the spread of nuclear weapons. We can actually have a world where nations are free to engage in a framework for civil nuclear cooperation, so that if they meet their responsibilities, they can have access to peaceful nuclear energy. That, in my opinion, is economically essential to many nations around the world, so long as they will be able to realize the energy they seek without enriching uranium, which could be at risk of diversion or theft. Here at GlobalCops, we commend the United Nations Security Council for its unanimous sanction against North Korea's continued provocation, including its recent nuclear tests and missile launches. The additional sanctions shows that violations have consequences, but we have to do more. It is time for North Korea to de-escalate and join the Committee of Nations to seek its peaceful nuclear energy use. Some have argued that the pursuit of nuclear weapons cannot be stopped, so we have to get used to living with it. But I believe such fatalism is a deadly endeavor, because if we allow that to happen, we are admitting to ourselves that the use of nuclear weapons is inevitable. Make no mistakes, we still have a very long way to go towards achieving a security and peace of a world without nuclear weapons. But it must be a collective commitment of the world. The reality is the world we are living today. But we must continue to strive for a vision of the world as it ought to be, the world of our future. The altercation between Washington and Pyongyang has reached its climax at this point. The same also applies to Iran, to China, and to Russia. All these are very high-powered countries with nuclear weapons. What about the Israeli and Palestinian conflict? What about the Libya and the Syrian civil war? And once military machines are in motion, miscalculations could escalate all too easily to catastrophic conflicts that could force the end of humanity as we know it. I call on member nations and global actors to renew our collective commitment to global peace and security. Now more than ever, we need action coordinated across borders, within businesses, within institutions, and national capitals. That means for once, we have to start doing the right thing. And we have an obligation to our common humanity to extend an olive branch to those whom we disagree with, to seek peace and mend fences with adversaries. It's time we start talking to our perceived enemies. And I know we can do it. In the history of the world, we have had times of turbulence and moments of peace. A time when the world came together to forge the strongest alliance the world has ever known. We stood shoulder to shoulder, year after year, decade after decade, until an iron curtain was lifted and freedom endured. I know we can do it again. For the peace of my generation, for the sake of our children, and for the sake of succeeding generation, I know we can do that just again. Our world is still faced with the plague of ISIS and Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups who are determined to buy, build, or steal a nuclear weapon or a nuclear material. These are violent groups who respond to alienation and perceive injustice with murderous instincts. We are also burdened by transnational and organized crimes, which has taken root in our various countries today. This is the moment of truth, a time to reconcile our very reality, the reality that our human destiny will be what we make of it, that we must work together to advance lasting solutions to these global threats. And in doing so, we must strengthen our cooperations with one another and with institutions around the world to confront dangers that recognize no borders. May God make us instruments of His peace. May He give us an excellent spirit to discern good from evil. May He help us bridge our divisions. Give us the strength to build upon our hopes. Accept our responsibility to leave this world more prosperous and more peaceful than ever. Together we can do it. I will do my best. You should do yours too. We cannot afford to let our world go away. Whatever happens in any country today will definitely have a reverberating effect on each and every one of us. This is the time to rise up and engage yourselves in peaceful advocacy. Let's talk about peace. For once, let's talk about love. You can do it.